Hi Isha, hi Sanchita, hi Palak, how are you? Welcoming you on
Hi,
board.
finally. Thank you,
Finally,
thank you,
actually,
thank you.
we've been planning so much. I hope this
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
So
But
let me
finally you're
introduce.
doing it.
Yes. So okay, congratulations firstly on your first live IGTV live.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Okay, so let me
Thanks
introduce
to
you.
you too.
Okay. So Palak is a psychologist and she provides therapy to her clients and conducts webinars related to mental health all around the world. And she's, one second, I'll have to read this. I don't remember. Okay. She's pursuing her MPhil in clinical psychology from the National Forensic Science University. So, wow, very nice. Okay.
Thank you so much, Archika. Thank you for such a nice introduction. And congratulations for our first live together. It's so good
Same
for
to
this
you.
session. The topic is personal space and me time, which is so I think relatable to the audience, and I feel that there's a personal touch to this topic, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
I
that
think
you can go on, go on, go on. It's never ending.
exactly. But you know, the problem here is uh, the thing is that in our society, like not particularly as our society, but the whole society, people just feel that taking out time for yourself is more like, it's selfish. कि
Yeah,
हाँ अपने लिए ही time तो है.
yeah,
I've heard this a
yeah.
lot.
I've heard this a lot. It's kind of stereotyped and stigmatized. So I think viewing having a self-care routine, having a personal time is viewed as selfish, which is not. It's not the case, but it again it's stereotyped, especially for the women in the society. I feel.
Yes.
I just to quote a short story. I asked my grandma. I was very young. I asked my grandma, what do you like to do? Whole day you just interact, you just work in the kitchen, and or you just go out to meet friends and all. But what do you do for yourself? I was very young by that time. I think I was barely 8 or 9. And she said one thing that I really enjoyed was cooking with my sister as a child. And then I said, then what happened? And then the other line she said was, फिर हम बड़े हो गए, which
Ah,
kind of hits me hard today. Which फिर हम बड़े हो गए. So फिर हम बड़े हो गए is what she meant was that as when you're young, society also embraces this self-care routine, this fun that you have with yourself, this personal time with you have with yourself. But as you grow, especially for our mothers, especially for the women in the society, the homemakers, you cannot have the me time because it's viewed as something bad, something which is very
very
selfish, something
selfish.
which
Huh.
very self-oriented kind of a thing. How can you do that? It's something that, somewhere cripples women. I was reading this book. It's a beautiful book called That Long Silence by Shashi Deshmukh. And wherein the writer writes about this lady who I think her husband is into this zone that he undergoes some severe financial crisis, his business is crippled down, and that's when she starts writing. And her husband is so critical of it, but she says that I do it for myself. And her husband says, you're so selfish, you're self-centered. All your life, you've done nothing but being so self-centered. She said, I gave up my writing for you. And that's when he says that, excuse me, that was not for me, that was for yourself, for your children. And that really hits her heart. She says that, oh my God, for my life, I have done everything for this family. At the end, what am I hearing? That's when she
Yeah.
decides to not let all that sink in and she starts writing. And gradually her husband realizes that no, this is my boundary and I cannot cross it. So that is a very beautiful story. And coming to this self-care thing, I think there's a very famous dialogue, this me time, related to me time. I think Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara was one such movie that most of us have seen, right? So,
Yes. Yes.
in that, I think there's a very beautiful interaction between Nasiruddin Shah and Farhan Akhtar when he goes to visit his father. I think he says that I'm a commercial editor, a commercial writer, a commercial editor. He says that, yeah, I get it. That's what you do for business purposes. But what do you do for yourself? And
Right.
that's the question that, somewhere instills this idea that self-care, me time, and personal space is something that has been neglected for years and years, and
Right.
that's something that's been associated with your happiness and your quality of life.
Quality. Yes.
Would you like to
So
add on something to that?
I think like right now, what our viewers actually need, of course, I spend a lot of time alone, a lot of time. So, and what I believe is it's very important to disconnect from, your family, your friends, everyone, your phone, social media, everything, and just take
Yeah.
out at least even if it's those 10 minutes, those 10 minutes have to be made very precious and very valuable. So, people just say कि हाँ ये तो बस बैठी हुई है. That's her self-care. No,
Mm,
you are being productive. You are recollecting your thoughts. Let other people say whatever they want.
yeah.
Who cares? So
Yeah,
according to
who
you, I just
cares?
want to exactly. So according to you, what is me time? Like, what do you usually do? Like, how do you spend your time there
Yeah,
in your?
so my me time involved a lot of things for I think few hours, like before enrolling myself in MPhil, and actually before this Corona period, I used to paint. I used to read a lot. I started reading as of now also, because I realized that this thing was lately hitting me hard. That even though I'm spending a lot of time working and seeing my clients throughout the day, and after that I have webinars and all, my self care routine, my me time, my personal space is completely hampered. It's nowhere in the list.
Campaign?
So I think at physiological level, at psychological level, at an emotional level, at all three levels, I really felt nice. After that, I felt motivated also to do other things, because somewhere I had the energy. I was undergoing this research paper. It's a NCBI research paper, wherein they said that when you do something for your self care, when you take out time for your personal space or something like that, you have these neurotransmitters also functioning at your physiological level. So
Wow.
there is this neurotransmitter, dopamine and serotonin. These two neurotransmitters are responsible for your feel good factor. So as soon as you do something like that, you feel motivated, you feel good, you feel nice about yourself. And somewhere at psychological level also, but at physiological level also, you're energized, your body's ready to do something. Okay, I have something to look up to. It's a reward to self. Nobody's
True.
rewarding me, I'm rewarding myself.
Yes. Exactly. I mean, you are the judge. You are the person who's going to criticize yourself or correct yourself
Yeah,
during that time. And you are the one who
yeah,
actually matters. Even in real life, even in our daily lives, I believe we are the ones who actually matter, right? The society does
yeah.
not matter. The
And
society is not coming.
as your
So this is
username suggests, you matter.
exactly, exactly. That was the story behind it was that I have to make myself at least I have to, make myself understand that I matter the most, right? For me,
The
I matter
most,
the most. For
absolutely.
you, you matter the most. And at the end of the
Yeah,
day, the society is not
true.
coming and, looking into the problems I am facing or the sadness. It's just coming to judge me, right? So I don't think I give
Yeah,
anyone from the society the right to judge me for the things I'm doing. And especially
the right,
self-time is like the most precious time.
the
So,
most
you know what?
precious time.
Yeah, and what I do is like I love reading. So I read a lot of books, mainly like novels or self-help books. Or I
Yeah,
start visualizing about a good future, about my dreams that these things are actually coming true. Or I listen to like a good Bollywood music because I'm a Bollywood. So when people say
बनता
soulful
है.
music, for me soulful music is listening to the 1990s and going back to Shah Rukh.
Yeah,
So for me,
yeah,
that is
it's
my
fun.
healing thing. So that or recollecting my thoughts, just seeing through the whole day. where I should be like not guilty, but where I made mistakes or what had hurt me. So I just write those things down, and then I just so I had this live session. My previous live session was about negative thoughts and manifestations and all. So I practice that. So for me, or I meditate, as in meditate, I can't close my eyes and focus much. I'm working on it right now. So I just do the third eye meditation.
Wow,
All
that's
these,
wonderful. That's wonderful.
and I try to keep my phone away because that's the biggest.
Yeah, it's a big distractor. It's a big distractor. I get it. My
I
entire day
know,
was
right?
it was something going like either managing my social media or working on this webinar or organizing or something like that. And either taking clients and all, but somewhere I had forgotten that, oh my God, I also exist. And there's a
Exactly.
time for myself. And that's when this topic came to my mind that it's something that's the most neglected thing. That's one of the most underrated things. There's this very famous professor, Dr. Preston, something like that. Okay,
Uh-huh.
she says a word for this. She says self-care and personal space. She portrays it as the missing ingredient, which is so beautiful. She's portrayed it so nicely. The missing ingredient. You can have all spices of life together, and yet that one missing ingredient
That
can
one.
actually hamper all your psychological states, right?
Yes.
So I think
True.
that one line that just stayed with me when I was reading about the self-care routine and the value of your personal space. So I think she talked about this theory also. There's a very famous psychologist, Bronfen Brenner. We read his theories and all. So she mentioned his theory and she correlated it with the value of personal space and self-care. So when you practice self-care, it's not at just the individual level, at social level, at organization level, at community level, and all. Because all these factors can be a motivating factor, like they can either encourage you or they can hinder. They can stop you, like what are you doing? They can create a stereotypical statement. What are you doing? Oh my God, is this something that you do for yourself? Oh my God, just do your work. All
Oh,
these are the typical statements. She related it to, so if you provide a strong social support at community level, at personal level, at organizational level also, that's when the person feels encouraged to do something like this. You have to provide encouragement to people who are around you. So as I mentioned, like my mother did, I think I needed that one encouragement from her. I was not verbalizing it. It was hitting me hard, but then when she spoke, I could sense it. Oh my God, yeah, it's happening. Until then, I was not. I was just thinking in my mind, but I was not doing it
very
actually.
unaware of it. Like, क्या है?
Very
That.
unaware of it. ये क्या है, right? Even I think most of us, there's this very concept in psychology or in general life also, philosophies and all also talk about this, that people talk about success as something that you have to be on the go. You have to be constantly. If you're not awake, then it's gone. There are statements like that related to success. I get it. It's true. But there's also another side to it, which is true. That sometimes in life, sit back and enjoy the ride.
Exactly.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
can't always be on the flight and fight mode. You can't always
No.
be on the go, like on the board. I mean, you sometimes life is just not about this. I might have a very longer life, but because of such small things, my quality of life is actually being impaired. Yeah,
True. Very
and
true. Very true.
especially at organizational levels, I've seen number of people, they're having this burnout, and burnout is basically a state where you're having
Yeah.
complete emotional, mental, physical, psychological breakdown. It's chronic. It's happening, 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 happening. It's continuous, and then that's the moment you feel, oh my God, I can't do it. And one of the reasons that they stayed behind this is that I don't have time for myself.
It
This
is
is the most common complaint, and yet the most neglected part.
neglected.
Most organizations, most schoolwork. I see school children, they're so burdened now due to online. I understand studies are very important, and I'm not blaming any institute that
I do.
no,
I do.
don't teach kids.
With
Don't
you
teach
guys.
kids. No, I'm not. But online classes, if you're taking online classes, be make it more meaningful instead of burdening
Yeah,
students with lots of work pressure. I've seen this young girl. There's this young girl. She shared a video where she's saying, "I have a complaint against all the ministers, all the
yeah,
institutes, and
yeah,
all."
I saw
It's
that
very
video.
popular nowadays. Yeah. You're burdening
Very
up with
viral.
so much of work. And I think somewhere that's the most natural and the beauty of childhood, that children are most candid people you've ever met. They can be
Yeah.
honest, they can be natural, and I think they can be brutally, on your face. They can be brutal on your face. And somewhere they make you hit the reality.
Yes. True. So, like, talking about school and everything. So, my experience as a teenager, as a child, was really bad in school. So, I never liked talking about school, or I just had like three, four friends who are still very, very close to me. They're like my best friends. So, except them, I don't like talking to other people from my school. And I've had a very, very bad experience. So, like, even in online classes or whatever. So I really like this life coach, Louis Hay. So in one of her course, she says that in school we were taught history, geography, every possible subject, science, accounts, everything. Like मैंने आधी जिंदगी हम लोग की पढ़ाई में निकाली. So, but then she says that why were we never taught about self love, about self care, about ourselves?
Self.
I don't think
Yeah.
like before school.
Ourselves.
Exactly. I don't think before school ended, I ever knew who I really was. Now I know what my
Yeah.
passion is. And because of those wasted years, I don't know what my purpose in life is as yet. So, at least one second,
Hmm.
huh, Palak? So
Yeah, yeah,
we'll
sure.
take these comments. So, okay. Auntie dropping. Okay, this is Apradvaj. He's a digital creator,
Okay.
and he talks about meditation. So he was the first
Okay.
one I had my first live
Okay.
video with. So he is
Okay.
saying Auntie dropping truth bombs. True. All moms always
Yeah.
drop truth
Yeah, I
bombs.
read his comment. Yeah, I read his comment. It was
And who is it? Karthik. Yeah. Okay. ठीक है. Random comments by my friend. He's saying Vanshika. Yes. Yes, Priyam, tell me. He's my family friend and a very dear friend, but just like to distract us. Okay. So why do you think that this time is very important? For me, I think it is one of the biggest symbols or the biggest parts of self-love for me because I enjoy my company a lot. My company is very precious to me because I get to recollect my thoughts. I get to talk to myself, and I had made a video on this. So I had read this somewhere. So I just it was a reel actually. So in this world, like being sensitive is a weakness. That's what I feel. That's what people usually tell me that, why do you cry so easily? Because how sensitive can you be? But I think sensitivity is a gift for me. It is like a proper gift
yeah.
for me that, at least
It's
I'm
a
sensitive.
virtue.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
at least I understand other people's pains and I'm not just very indifferent कि हाँ तो क्या हो गया उसको हुआ तो. At least if I'm understanding my pain, I'm understanding मेरे सामने वाले का भी pain. So for
Yeah.
me, that really, and for being emotionally independent, you must be knowing this much better than I know. But I feel it is a part of me being emotionally independent. So I'm not emotionally dependent on even my mom or the other people from the society. I'm independent and just dependent on myself, on my thoughts, on what I really want to do. So that's very important for me. Also, I think me time just gives me a lot of things, a lot of time to analyze and make proper decisions. Instead of
Yeah.
asking to
It does.
a very small example that, I have this project coming up and I asked my friend, ki, what should I do? How do I make the project? What give me some ideas. So she said that, you decide for yourself. Then I went to my mom. So my mom also said the same thing that, you're going to graduate now. You start making your own decisions. You know what's good and what's bad. If it's a wrong decision, you're going to learn something. If it's a good decision, good, keep it up. So me time
Yeah,
actually, and I
yeah.
actually found the solution within 2 days. And that's working well.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's
With
wonderful. It's
priority.
it's yeah, it's actually, that you start scheduling yourself. You prioritize yourself, right? So earlier, the concept of self-care in my mind was like before I started studying the field of, I got into the field of mental health and human behavior and all these things. Before it was like self-care means all the boutique related and the salon related things. So if I'm
On my
getting
mind
my
also.
hair, yeah, if I'm getting all my hair done, all my lashes done, all my makeup done, it means self-care. And I realized that this concept, this idea of self-care is actually, of course, at some point it can make me feel confident. How I look might make me
That
feel
is
confident,
also
but not,
important.
yeah, that's also important. But that self-care is just not this. It's just not this. It can be going out for a walk. It can be just sitting idle and talking to yourself. It can be introspecting. It can be a night with yourself where you're just watching movie, where you're just listening song. You just open a window and then you're just taking a like yeah, you're just having a breeze. It's all about that. It's just not self-care related to all your personal etiquette and personal grooming and all. More than that, it's related to how I connect with myself.
Yeah.
So when I started studying the field of human behavior, and I got into the field of psychology, that's when I realized that self-care is one of the most underrated things. Personal space is one of the most, I think, stigmatized and neglected things, and it is viewed as something bad, as
Yeah,
something
that's
that okay,
true.
it should not be. Okay, if
Yeah.
you're taking out time for yourself, it's something that, okay, why? I mean, why do you have to take out time for yourself when you have other people around? That's what most of the family members, that's what most of the friends say. That when you have your friends and all, why do you need time for yourself? But sometimes it's just that you need time for yourself. It could be regarding anything. Maybe some kind of introspection also. Maybe I just need some time off. And people don't
Yeah.
realize it. People view it as something that you want to be aloof or you want to be rude. So I
Yeah.
remember this one time, there's this client that had come up to me and she said that, I have this complaint that I like spending time with myself, but I also like interacting with people. But now the days that I like spending time with myself, people come up to me and they're like, "Chalo, let's go out and all." And then I reply that no, I don't want to go out today. So they say that, "Oh my God, she's rude. Next time we're not inviting her." And then the next time or the next moment, I'm not invited in any kind of a party. That was a complaint. And I realized it was a genuine concern because
Yeah.
sometimes you're so stereotyped, you're so uh, categorized, like this person likes to be alone. It's human behavior
Alone.
is
Yeah.
very diverse and dynamic. It's not always like if I'm spending some time alone, I'm an introvert person. It's very
Huh. Okay.
dynamic across the situation. So now if this person, she feels that she's being stereotyped and she's being categorized. So then we encouraged her to let things out, even to the people like who matter to her, most importantly. Other than that, she's not answerable to anyone. But people who matter to her, at least they should be able to understand her. And we encouraged her to speak to the people around, and gradually she started speaking. And she wasn't rude, and she wasn't extremely polite. She was assertive. She could make up a point that, listen, this is what I like to do at some point in my life, and this is what I enjoy at the other point of my life. And as a friend, as a family member, I expect you to understand this. It took time for people to grasp it, but gradually they did, and I'm happy that she's doing well now. So
Finally,
this is a
exactly.
small narrative of this one of the most basic and yet neglected things.
Huh, but exactly, very neglected. And if a normal person, if a person like, I honestly feel this might sound really mean, but someone who doesn't care about herself or himself really, really lacks self-love. Caring about yourself is the most important thing, right? Coming to our mothers only, I just
Yeah.
feel that, they do. Whenever I'd ask my mom that, Mama, आप ये कर लो, आप अपने लिए ये कर लो, वो कर लो. So then she's always like, अरे नहीं, मतलब why you so tense and all. So then she'll be like, नहीं मेरे बच्चे settle
Hmm.
हो जाए तो that's the only thing I want. So I said, what
Hmm.
do you want for yourself? What do you want? As a mother, I would never say like, at least I don't want to say. Then she always says कि तुम मम्मी बन जाओगी, then you'll understand. But I never want to be such a mother that I'm
Yeah.
sacrificing everything for my children. Of course, I'm going to give them everything they want. But of course, I need to, at least I need to be happy to give them happiness, to give happiness around, like, spread happiness, spread smiles. So that is a very,
Yeah.
very
I think
important.
I think for women in particular, this expectation of society also somewhere puts pressure on women.
I was just checking the messages to my friend
All
who
right.
I spoke to about the project. She says always make your own decisions. Thank
So
you.
true.
Thank you, sir.
So, coming up to this point that I was making, that as women, especially in collectivistic society, there's this expectation that you're supposed to sacrifice it all. You have to let it go. You have to sacrifice and you have to compromise. Adjust, compromise, and sacrifice. These are the common words that a woman has to listen. And even though she takes a stand against it, she is viewed as mean, as selfish, as somebody who lacks womanhood. There are some people who go up to that extent also. That you
I
lack
couldn't hear you.
femininity and
You're
womanhood.
true, true.
Yeah,
So in
yeah.
India
And don't be
only,
the man of the
when we,
society. That's what,
yeah,
yeah, these are the some
that is
stereotypical
such a
statements that
common
people
thing.
make. Yeah, that's what people say, but then they fail to understand that, I mean, personal space, you've come as an individual, you've we're social being also, but at some point we're individual also. So all these things are not separate, and all these things are can't be viewed as I think in isolation, right? You have to understand that at one point, if a person wants to be in the company of other, it's their will, and at some point that they demand some personal space, that is also their will. We're social being also, but we're individuals also. I think
True.
this dichotomy, sometimes people forget to draw this dichotomy.